I'm like, where'd you go? I came in and shit out of nowhere. Yeah, I didn't mean to scare you, bro. Used to look around and like.
And yeah, the final kind of opinion. I don't know if this was sent into Twitter or Instagram, but it's something we want to talk about, which was James Rodriguez's wasted potential almost as one of the best creative midfielders in the world.
This take was suggested by Lorenzo on Twitter, so just shouting him out. So he was the one who gave this take. He said that James Rodriguez could be one of the best attacking midfielders if he's put in the right situation, essentially. So we just wanted to discuss about James Rodriguez in general. Yeah. Ariman, what do you think about that?
Yeah.
So, 100% James Rodriguez's talent as an attacking midfielder has been wasted this last year. He does need a good transfer. Maybe to a maybe not to a Serie A club, since we've seen a lot of attacking midfielders joining, but I guess a league like the Premier League, maybe the Liga. A lot of sides in both these leagues could truly benefit from his skill set. And if I was in their place, so maybe I would interest in assigning like James Rodriguez. I think KJ and I discussed it someday about how James Rodriguez would be a good addition to the Wolves side if they had the budget.
I think it's pretty realistic for a James Rodriguez to Wolves transfer to happen simply because the James Rodriguez agent is Jorge Mendes, who's also a part owner / shady owner for the Wolverhampton Wolves. So there's a clear connection with the agent over there, and like a lot of his clients, like Ruben Neves, in the past have joined even when he was in the championship. So we know he has the power to bring in elite players to Wolves, even if they wouldn't actually be able to attract such talent. But now they're also close to the Europa League and Champions League, so it's not even out of the question like that. So what I would say is that one of the main issues with those, like, they've obviously been a success story more or less because they've gone from a promoted side to a top 7 and now most probably a top 6 team. So, but one of the main things they face is when they're facing like bottom 10 teams or like lower half teams, one thing in their 3-5-2, they're often playing like 3 central midfielders, at times like Dendoncker, Moutinho, Neves. So then at times Jota and Jimenez by themselves aren't able to create. So what James Rodriguez could really help them with is the creativity and act as the third midfielder, like somewhat of a 3-4-1-2 with, let's say, Neves and Moutinho. So that would actually give them attacking firepower on the attacking end against the lower half teams who seem to sit back a lot, and James could actually unlock them. Because like if we see in 2017-18, the last time he actually got decent amount of minutes, in 23 games, 23 minutes, if you look at it, he had 7 goals and 11 assists for Bayern Munich. So you can see that if you actually play him, he can actually contribute. And even now he's barely been playing, so it's a bit more unfair to compare. But basically what he's shown is that if you put him in the right situation, he can actually be a great player. And I think with a team like Wolves, where he's one of the main players, I think even in the bigger games, like you can play Jimenez and James together, for example, against the more attacking teams and counter-attack with those two, for example. I think that James Rodriguez to Wolves could be a really good one.
Yeah, I think the last 3-4 years, I think he's been wasted so badly. He's one of the best creative players in Europe, and he's played for 2 of the best sides, sure, Real Madrid and Bayern Munich. But they haven't given him the consistent minutes he probably deserves. And I really wish he'd sought a transfer earlier and really shown his talents in the Premier League, the Bundesliga, some other La Liga club. Because he genuinely is so talented. He's been incredible, and I hope that this summer maybe he gets a move, comes to the Premier League, shows the world what he's really about. Because he's got a wand of a left foot as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
he's really good. Like even in 14-15, his first Real season, the only Real season in which he got proper minutes for Ancelotti, I think. He got like 13
He
goals
was
and
amazing.
13 assists in
Yeah.
29 games. And yeah, I remember him being amazing too. So it's not like these are some misleading numbers.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'd say. That whenever he's been utilized, even in his first season with Bayern, where he was actually utilized before he got injured, I think, or when he was injured. So even that season, he was pretty awesome. So what I'd say is that he, as you said, he's such a talented player, and whenever he's gotten the right situations and right minutes, he's actually produced. So in a team like Wolves or even some other team which could actually bring out the best of him, I can really see him succeeding.
Yeah, Wolves, maybe at Leicester if they lose Madison. He could go to like any, I'd say probably top 8 side that needs creativity. He could probably fit in there quite easily because he's played for the best teams. His defensive contribution, you can't overlook that. He presses quite well. So he's not a liability
exactly.
like someone like Ozil is in a defensive sense. So
Yeah,
he's
like
definitely
Bayern
pick up.
Munich. For
And I think-
Bayern Munich, I think at times they played him in central midfield, and he was still able to like contribute and not hurt the defense whatsoever. So I think like he can, he's quite versatile that way.
And the fact is he's definitely available this summer because Real Madrid don't seem to want him. And it won't be too expensive to get one of the best creators in Europe potentially. So I think any side looking for creativity should definitely pick him up. And yeah, I think since we've unpacked that take, now we're going to move on to some interesting Instagram takes. We've got one that's kind of gathered steam in the last few days, especially since Spurs' recent loss from @Yash_Aaron, which says Jose Mourinho's done out here. He's finished as a top-level manager and the game has outgrown him. Araman, since you had to suffer under Jose Mourinho for 2.5 years, I think you should just jump right in. What's your opinion?
Okay, let's be honest. Let's give him some fair takes, bro. Like, we didn't suffer for 2.5 years. First season actually turned out to be acceptable. Is some?
I mean, yeah, for sure.
Is
It was
a word?
acceptable, to be fair.
It's a word that I would use in this situation. But you know what I've kind of deduced here. He's trying to play the same tactic, or he's trying to fit his mindset into the team, and trying to surround that team with those specific players. And did he achieve in United? We all know the answer. Did he achieve in Spurs? Well, not yet, because he isn't bringing the results. So I sort of have to, with my hand on my heart, I have to agree with this. Because, look, he isn't bringing the results. I wouldn't see his finish. Maybe his play style could work in other leagues, like maybe the Liga NOS. Or the Serie A.
Oh my God.
Or some.
Oh, good God.
Or something.
Of a league or not.
Or something like that. Like I'm just being honest here, man. So yeah, I think he just needs a change in atmosphere. Premier League isn't something his tactics are really fitting in. Yes, he did have a good season with Chelsea, but that doesn't mean he's gonna bring the same amount of outcome for every team after that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I have to say. That okay, maybe he's not fit for the Premier League standards.
KJ, jump in as the Chelsea fan.
I mean, it's kind of harsh to say he's finished because you never know. Maybe as an international manager for Portugal or something, he could be pretty good. Maybe if in another league, maybe if he changes his tactics or play style to an extent, like if he adapts a more new style based on more pressing, for example. Like obviously, it's not realistic to assume that, especially not on the basis of what he's shown. But it's not out of the question. So like saying he's finished is a bit harsh. But at the same time, I can see why he's saying that he's finished, because let's see, after Chelsea won the title, he gets sacked sacked the following season, and we all know how that goes down. So that he goes to United. First season is a 6th place finish. They have decent XG records, but nothing spectacular per se. Then second season, he finishes second. And we all know how much that season is hyped to United. But the crazy thing is, I think both of you know that because you're United fans, but many of the narrative wasteland take people don't know this. That literally De Gea carried United defense that season. Broke about he broke so many records with his goalkeeping in terms of expected goals. By expected goals, United should have been sixth, and instead they finished second easily. And
Right.
De Gea literally saved, I think, 25 expected goals, by far the league record of all time. He literally had one of the greatest goalkeeping seasons of all time, and like the people who didn't watch or didn't know thought Mourinho coached his defenses to getting such an elite position when it was literally De Gea saving him. So even if, I mean, it's not a criticism on United, because like relying on your star players isn't anything. There isn't anything wrong with that. But if you're talking about Jose's defensive tactics, then it's certainly a question on that, because considering how many expected goals they actually conceded, like it's actually remarkable that they finished second. So I think that season again showed what happened, and then after that we all know what's happened so far. That the next season at United where he got sacked, and then even this season with Spurs. And for the record, I didn't even like the move for Spurs when they did that. I did not necessarily have a problem with Pochettino getting sacked, because maybe it was time to finish. But paying Jose so much money for such an aging manager, relatively speaking, and considering what he'd shown before this, I didn't really like the move for them.
Actually, I want to be honest here as well. Like, I saw a stat about De Gea for that season, and I'm so happy that you brought it up, because yeah, it's something very noticeable. If De Gea wasn't carrying his form, there was a figure, an average figure, not exact, obviously. He would concede about 21 or 22 more goals in that Premier League season.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
the intensity at which De Gea was performing, considering Mourinho was basically relying on his defensive tactics, the other team would get so many attacking plays that it would be difficult for United to even dodge them. But with De Gea's form, it just turned out to be, a win-win situation for Mourinho. Like playing this old school style and still, getting the benefit of it. All credits to De Gea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I probably change the take a little bit and say I think he's done out here as a top tier manager. Like, I think any top club should not be looking to sign him. I think he's definitely a manager who should go to any underdog club, and I think he could probably do a good job with them. But
I think he could do a really good job for them, in fact.
Yeah, but I have a bone to pick with him, and he convinced me that Paul Pogba was a virus, that Marcus Rashford was nothing, that Martial couldn't play football, and that Luke Shaw was fat and overweight. I mean, he literally stole 2-3 years of a good United squad. He convinced me the squad was the problem.
Pogba was good in the first year, right?
Yeah, I know he was good throughout. But the thing is, the atmosphere around the club, while everything was going well, sure, it was good. But the moment we lost, it was so negative, so toxic. And I think the one thing I've seen that's becoming more and more important for managers these days is cultivating an atmosphere and a culture around the club that's positive.
Yeah.
Jurgen Klopp did it at Liverpool, and you're seeing a lot of managers who are young and exciting do it. Lampard's doing it at Chelsea. Solskjaer is doing it at United, and Arteta's started to do it at Arsenal. And I think Jose Mourinho, one massive thing is I don't think he relates to younger players. I think he hates, or he's just a grumpy old man now, isn't he? He just cannot work with anyone under the age of 25, 26. He needs 28, 29-year-olds, not particularly talented, who'll run wherever he wants them to run, wingers who'll play at fullback, strikers who'll play in midfield for him. He needs a very specific type of player, and his tactics have not evolved since he first came onto the scene.
Yeah, I think
he's done some interesting things at Spurs, where he's put Aurier up the pitch and playing Davies a bit more reserved, but that's very basic. There's no complexity to his tactics. I think he's lost his man management. So what does he really have now? I think national team could do a very good job.
And I think the main thing is that, as you said, Mourinho has basically always wanted like a specific type of person. But earlier in his time, his tactics were so good that basically if you hired Mourinho, it was actually worth it and worth doing all these things. But at this point, you're sacrificing potentially your players, and then also the culture you're creating, the negative vibes and all the things you mentioned. Like, it isn't even worth it for a top club at this point, considering how much he's fallen off compared to other managers in terms of his tactics.
Yeah, by signing him, you're risking the long-term future of the club. Because
Yeah,
if he'd had
exactly.
his way at United, Pogba was gone, Martial was gone, Shaw was gone. For Perisic, much older players who would do well for 1 or 2 seasons, but in the long term, the team would just fall off a cliff. So I think, yes, I don't think, you know what he's done out here. He's a grumpy old man who doesn't deserve a top 6 job, doesn't deserve a Champions League club. He should just go to the national team. Screw him. But yeah, I think that brings us to an end of this reacting to takes video. Some of them were quite good discussion points, while others were somewhat ludicrous. But thank you again so much, everyone, for sending in your takes. We really appreciate the interaction. And yeah, please keep sending them in on Instagram, Twitter. Share the video, like, comment your opinions, and we'll definitely do another one of these soon. In the next few days, I think you have a few FPL Premier League videos to look forward to. So stay tuned for that. And other than that, thank you. We're out.
Peace out.
Young winner, young sinner, peace when I'm done in a head spinner, cash spinner, brother, I'm the breadwinner, bread butter, wrong than you and be the soul singer, Johnny Glover, weapon lover, enemy, so they never bother, whoa. My life, I'm keeping it all on the low.